The biological sun, forging eternal light from river weeds and bone fat. Walk into your home and flip the light switch on your wall. Instantly, the shadows vanish. We live in an era of perpetual daylight, manufactured by massive coal-fired power plants, nuclear reactors, and millions of miles of copper wire. We have completely forgotten the true terror of the dark. But human biology has not forgotten. When the grid collapses, and the lithium batteries in your modern LED flashlights finally degrade and die, you will be plunged into an abyss that our ancestors knew all too well. In a true off-grid survival scenario, darkness is not just an inconvenience, it is a psychological prison. During the brutal winter months, the sun sets by 4 in the afternoon, leaving you in total, suffocating blackness for up to 15 hours. Without light, you cannot repair your gear. You cannot cook safely, you cannot tend to a wound, and your mind begins to succumb to isolation and fear. Modern survivalists hoard expensive solar panels and boxes of AA batteries, completely ignorant of the fact that electronics fail, wires corrode, and batteries leak. When the industrial light fades forever, you must know how to summon the biological sun. Today, we are going to unlock the ancient, forgotten science of the rushlight and the tallow candle. We are going to learn how to forge eternal illumination using nothing but a river weed and the discarded fat of an animal. To conquer the darkness, you must first find the perfect biological wick. Modern candles use woven cotton strings, but in a collapsed world, you cannot afford to waste precious clothing or agricultural land just to make a candle wick. Instead, ancient European peasants, Celtic tribes, and early pioneers turned to the wetlands. They sought out a common, aggressively growing marsh weed known as the soft rush, scientifically named Juncus effusus. If you walk into any damp pasture, swamp, or riverbank, you will find these tall, cylindrical, grass-like spikes growing in dense green clumps. To the untrained eye, they look like useless weeds, but the soft rush is a masterpiece of biological capillary action. If you slice open the tough green outer skin of a rush stem, you will find a bright white, incredibly soft, sponge-like core. This is the pith. The cellular structure of this pith is composed of millions of microscopic, star-shaped cells designed to suck water up from the swampy ground. It is nature's ultimate sponge. But to weaponize this plant for illumination, you must carefully extract the core. The ancient technique is a delicate art. You hold the green stalk and use a sharp knife, or simply your thumbnail, to peel away the tough green rind, stripping it down the entire length of the plant. However, you must leave one single, razor-thin strip of green bark attached to the white pith. This single strip of bark acts as the structural spine. Without it, the delicate white sponge would simply snap in half. Once you have peeled hundreds of these white, spongy strips, you lay them out in the hot summer sun or hang them near your hearth. As they dehydrate, the water evaporates from the microscopic cells, leaving behind millions of microscopic, empty vacuums. You have just created a massive biological capillary engine, waiting to be fueled. But a wick without fuel will burn to ash in a matter of seconds. You need a dense, high-energy liquid battery. You cannot drill for petroleum in the wilderness. And harvesting enough wild beeswax is incredibly labor-intensive. Instead, the ultimate survival fuel comes from the exact same source as your survival soap and your pemmican, animal tallow. When you harvest a deer, an elk, or a sheep, you save the dense, hard fat surrounding the kidneys. You place this raw fat into a heavy cast iron cauldron over a low, steady fire. As the cellular tissue crisps and rises to the top, the pure, high-calorie lipid melts into a crystal-clear, bubbling golden liquid. This is pure rendered tallow. It is incredibly energy-dense, containing thousands of calories of stored solar energy that the animal absorbed from eating grass. You are simply preparing to release that solar energy as light. The alchemy of the rushlight happens in the dipping pan. While the golden tallow is still boiling hot and liquid, you take your dried white rush piths and submerge them entirely into the fat. Instantly, the microscopic vacuum cells inside the rush suck the liquid fat deep into their core. You pull the rushes out, and as the fat hits the cool air, it hardens, locking the high-energy fuel inside the biological sponge. You have just forged a rushlight. It looks like a long, pale, wax-covered stick. But how do you burn it?
Liquid fat
Unlike
rushing
a
up the
modern
capillary
candle that
tubes
stands
of the plant,
vertically,
filling
the
every
physics of a rushlight
microscopic
require a
void with
specific angle to
high-energy
achieve
fuel.
perfect combustion. If you hold it straight up, the flame is too weak and dies out. If you point it straight down, the fat melts too quickly and extinguishes the flame. Ancient blacksmiths forged a specialized iron tool called a rushlight nip, a simple pincer mounted on a heavy wooden block. The nip holds the fat-soaked rush exactly at a 45-degree angle. When you strike a spark and light the tip of the rush, a brilliant, bright, steady flame erupts. The heat of the flame melts the tallow just fast enough for the capillary action of the white pith to suck the liquid fuel directly into the fire. A single rush, 2 feet long, burning at a 45-degree angle, will cast a bright, clean light for nearly an hour. It is a silent, beautiful, off-grid clock. The peasants of the Middle Ages did not measure their winter nights in hours. They measured them in rushes. As one burned down to the iron clip, you simply ignited the next. A single handful of these processed river weeds and a cup of discarded animal fat can illuminate your cabin for the entirety of the long, dark winter. If you desire an even longer, self-standing light, you combine the technology of the rushlight with the technology of the biological cable. You take the fine, incredibly strong fibers of the stinging nettle, tightly braid them into a thick string, and suspend that string down the center of a hollow mold, perhaps a section of dried bamboo or a rolled piece of birch bark. You pour the hot, liquid tallow around the nettle wick. When it cools, you peel away the mold, revealing a perfectly formed, thick, solid tallow candle. The braided nettle acts as an advanced capillary pump, drawing the melting tallow up into the flame for hours of uninterrupted light. We are utterly terrified of the dark because we have forgotten how to make the light. We believe that illumination requires silicon microchips, fragile glass bulbs, and rare earth metals mined from the other side of the planet. When that global machine stops, the world will fall into a state of panic and shadow. But you will not. You will walk down to the damp riverbank, harvest the weeds from the mud, and render the fat from your hunt. You will sit inside your warm, earthen shelter, strike a piece of flint against a high-carbon steel striker, and watch as a bright, warm, golden flame pushes the darkness out of your home. You are no longer a hostage to the modern electrical grid. You hold the biological sun in the palm of your hand,